I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited about my next guest, Jana Short. We actually got connected through V Team Referral Network. So we are part of a networking group together, and she did a wonderful presentation. We had a summit. I can't remember if it was this year or last year. Isn't that sad? All the days are going together. That's just me having mommy brain on top of just being inside my four walls for an extended time. But just a wonderful, wonderful resource of information. I love her energy and just the ease of which she makes her presentation. So I feel quite honored to have her here with me today. And at this time, I'm going to give Jana the opportunity to tell us a little bit about her before we get into the interview.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here too. And I think that summit was this year, but it
Okay.
seems so long ago because of COVID. Everything seems to be so long.
Yes.
Well, I'm really excited to be here and a little bit about myself. I'm an online global influencer, and what I do is create other global influencers. And for those of you who wonder what that means, um, as parents, we're influencers, right? We influence our children to be decent human beings, right? Hopefully. And in our workplace, we're influencing people, but how we show up and influence people online is really important because they don't know us like our family and friends do. They know us like in a separate kind of way. And so we have to show up at the same way we show up for our friends and our family be sure that we're putting that amazing influence that we want to see go out into the world.
I love that. And, global influencer, I just love the vision and everything that just, comes along with that title. So, talk to us a little bit about, what it means to maintain that. Right now we're in a global pandemic. So, a lot of us are really kind of trying to figure out where we go next, reinventing ourselves. Jobs are changing, even just the whole format of maybe how you do your job. You're used to face, but now you're behind a screen on a computer or a cell phone in this FaceTime situation. So, how do you continue to maintain such a presence?
Um, that's really easy for me because before COVID, this is where I did my business was behind a screen because I extend my reach globally.
Mhm.
And the thing is, and I'm just going to put it into like, I'm all about mindset. So I'm just going to put it into a mindset perspective.
Mhm.
If you fly a lot and you're on the plane and all of a sudden, who doesn't, when they start hitting those horrible turbulence and they last longer than you think they should last, you could feel your anxiety building, right? What's the very first thing you do? You start looking for the flight attendant, right? What is she doing? And she's just still walking through the aisle serving drinks. Immediately you relax and you're like, she's calm. This is normal. So I can relax. Well, I
Mhm.
kind of do that when I work online. I show up relaxed, calm, because we are going to get through this. We're already like halfway through it. And
Mhm.
so things are going to be okay. And I want to be that calming force when people come to me or they're having those anxious feelings like I've been out of work for months. When is it going to end? How am I going to do this? You're going to be okay. I want you to know you're going to be okay. And yes, this sucks, but sometimes the sucky things turn out to be some of the best parts of our journey. So I don't want you to miss any of the good stuff either during it. But I have to show up every day to maintain being an influencer. You've got to show up every day because the other side of that coin is if I go away for a couple of weeks, the people that are following me, that are being influenced for me, they're up looking for the next shiny star. So
Mhm.
I make sure I'm feeding my clients and my following what they're hungry for. And I show up every day doing that. So it's kind of what I do on a daily basis to keep myself active, prevalent. The really important thing is when you're online, you show up as your authentic self. So if you're having a bad day, you show up, say, I'm having a bad day, but I'm happy to be here. If you're having a great day, you show up and have a great day with them, right? You just keep showing up as your authentic self because people are really smart. And the first day you show up trying to be something that you're not, they will spot it. And you will lose all that beautiful rapport that you have built with them over the weeks, months, or years, whatever it took to build that with them. So I always show up as my authentic self.
I love that. And so, this is really a challenge in the times that we're in now is maintaining that calm. It's a practice, of course, something that I'm sure you know really well in order for you to be that influencer and continue to show up. So, what things do you have to do in your daily routine that helps keep you mindful of that? I'm sure you're not watching the news 24/7 or something like that. So talk to us about the conscious choices that you feel you make to keep you in that position of showing up.
For me, it's a lot different than a lot of other people, and that's a really good question.
Mhm.
If I were here and I didn't experience what I did 10 years ago, I probably would be in a totally different place. I'd probably be panicking and freaking out and having all that anxiety. But 10 years ago on my journey, I got very ill and was sent home to die after 2 months in the hospital. And when I came home thinking, I just went in for a surgery and now I'm dying, what is going on? And I couldn't wrap my head around it. And it was either let us make you comfortable here in the hospital, or you can go home and we'll make you comfortable there for the next couple of weeks. When I got home, I had our fifth grandson, and he was born right before I went into the hospital. So he was 9 weeks old at the time, and my daughter brought him to visit us. And I remember holding him thinking, he will not have one memory of me. Like the little simplest things that we don't really pay attention to. Like he wouldn't remember how I laughed, what I smelled like, what it felt like for me to give him one of those big hugs that grandmas give their kids, right? And I was desperate to create a memory with him. And I got online and I started searching for a holistic options. And I never thought I would survive. And this is all about mindset. I never thought I'd survive because some very well educated doctors told me there was no hope and I would not. So I got online to create a memory almost 10 years ago, to create a memory. And here I am stringing those memories together all the time. So when COVID hit, it was just another day because I literally live in the moment now. I am so grateful that I've had 10 years and I hope I have another 10 and another 10. But
Mhm.
whatever that is, I don't look forward like that anymore because I don't want to miss what's going on right now. So if we get so caught up in the things we can't control, like when COVID's leaving us, when are things going to get back to the new normal? How is this going to affect my family? I can't affect those outcomes and changes because I have no control over it. But I do have control over myself. And I have control over the people I love around me and how I interact with them, not so much how they interact, but I can be calm and peaceful. And I don't want to miss those moments that are going on right now in that little bubble that I'm in because we're all been put in these bubbles. I don't want to
Mhm.
miss those because I'm freaked out about what's tomorrow going to hold. And
Right.
by the way, I am not by any means saying that doesn't mean I am not concerned about what happens tomorrow. I am, but I'm
Right.
also living in the moment. I know that tomorrow's a new day. New challenges are going to come, right? New things that have actually gone really well for us. So we have new things to celebrate. But those are for tomorrow, right? Today, this is what I have control of. This is what I can change. This is my message. And these are the great memories I feel that I want to create with my family, my friends, my coworkers, the people I'm touching. So if it were me 10 years ago and this happened, it would have been a whole different me. But knowing that I looked at what death looked like and I'm still here for some crazy reason, I am so excited to be in this moment. And that's where I live, is in the moment. So I honestly would tell all of you, yeah, we have to be concerned. We're adults, right? We're responsible. We
Mhm.
have to be concerned about what goes in, but don't let that take away your beautiful moment.
I love that. And, this is something that we just don't want to brush over because mindset is important. And, you walked us through that story and we could feel, the emotion, but there's that element, just like you mentioned, you have these well trained, well renowned doctors telling you something, and little you is believing something else. So that's quite a feat right there. And to believe in against whatever you thought really, were the experts, so to speak. So talk to us about how you were able to do that because that is just I mean, we're not talking like, oh, we're gonna get a second opinion. You're just these people are giving up. So I mean, I mean, how we're that just I can't even wrap my head around it, you know? And to see that you're here today, and I mean, you look amazing and you're talking to other people. I mean, so yeah, we just can't brush over that.
I won't brush over it. And I will tell you that your mind is a beautiful, incredible machine, and it believes what you tell it, what you feed it. It creates this
Mhm,
blueprint, right?
mhm,
So I could have went home and been told you have 3, 4 weeks, get yourself together. And
mhm.
I could have let that tick off in my brain, right? And what am I doing? And I got to tell you, when someone tells you you're going to die, like, we all know we're going to die. That's what we do. The minute we're
Right,
born, we're on a journey to die.
right.
And so we all know it's coming, but when someone tells you it's coming, it's here, it's almost like getting that death sentence and you're walking down to the gallows, right? Or to the electric
Mhm,
chair, and you have that anxiety, like, I'm not ready, like, I have things to do still. And
mhm,
we all really should have that little voice in our head saying, we still have things to do here. We're just not ready. We're still here right now in this moment. What can I be doing?
mhm,
But my mindset wasn't even to survive, because I was told I wouldn't. I did not think I would be here. I focused on what I had control of in that moment and what I wanted to do with it. And those little moments strung together. So I made a plan. This summer, which I wasn't supposed to be here that very first year, I'm taking my grandkids, 5 of them at the time, I'm taking my grandkids to the beach for a vacation where they can all play together and I can just sit there on my deathbed and watch them, right? But it
mhm.
turned out that I wasn't on my deathbed watching them. If you go to my Instagram, that very first picture is posted there of me on the beach sitting with them. And I made it to that moment. And then I planned another moment. And then I planned another moment. And as I was planning these moments, not thinking I would make it there, just knowing that I'm here today, this is what I'm doing, I literally have strung 10 years of incredible moments together. And I wanted to know why. Why does the mind have that kind of power? And for people who have been given like a cancer diagnosis and they're told, look, you've got 6 months. I wish the doctor would never say that date, because your brain now has a blueprint. I have 6 months.
Right.
Oh, wow, I only have 5 months now. Wow, I only have four. I should be feeling worse. And it starts creating death for you.
Mm,
And even if you only do have 6 months, how do you want to live that 6 months, right?
mhm,
It was, for me, it was like, how do I want to spend this last moment with my grandchildren, with my family? What kind of memory do I want? Let me tell you, I now have 7 grandbabies. Every single year, we take a vacation, usually to the beach, just like that first one, where I
mhm,
get to sit and just enjoy watching them. And
mhm.
it has been amazing. I ran a 200-mile, 2-day relay race with my daughters called Ragnar, with her and my sister and some other friends. And like, you didn't sleep for 48 hours. You sat in a van, moved to your next spot, got out and ran, got back in the van. And I never have run in my life. And I never, by the way, will again. But my daughter wanted this memory with me. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I trained, I did it, and we're done. But I created that beautiful memory. And so I've climbed to Machu Picchu, climbed the top of Machu Picchu with my husband. We just last year went on a safari to Africa. Like, we're doing these beautiful, incredible memories that we're creating together. And life, I wish I knew this years ago. I, for all of you who have children and your moms and your grandmothers and these wise women look at you and say, be careful, because you're going to blink your eyes and it will be over. They are so right. I blinked my eyes and my kids were grown with children of their own, and I missed all those beautiful moments. So grandkids for us are do-overs, right? We get a
Right.
second chance. We're not as busy. We're not building careers. We're not building our relationships with our husbands. We're not the taxi driver, the nurse, the chef, the laundress. For our kids, we have moments that we can like just stop and like absorb them and really see what's going on. I will tell you that my grandkids know it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If they call, the world stops. I pick up and I say, hello, what are you doing? How's it going? How is school? And I'm so engaged with them, because that is why I survived. And I don't want to forget that. Even though I'm growing in this business, that is what I'm growing for. So I don't ever want to forget that that's the reason I'm here, not because I'm out there giving my message. So your mind is beautiful. Create that blueprint of where you want to go. If it's in your health, if it's in your relationship, if it's with
Mhm.
your children, whatever that is, start putting that blueprint in your brain, because it doesn't know. It did not
Mhm.
know I was supposed to be here.
I love that. That is just so inspiring. So, walk us through like that first memory that you're creating going to the beach. What did that look like? Did you actually um book the hotel, or, make the airline tickets, or you know what I'm saying? What did that look like? Was that like a vision board, or how did that go?
So I'm a big believer in vision board. If you walk through my house, you're going to see messages to my mind that are
Mhm.
subliminal everywhere. I'm brushing my
Okay.
teeth. You got this, girl. Whoever you're going to touch today, it's going to impact them. Like there's messages all over. But the very first thing my husband did, I was so sick in the hospital. I can't even tell you how sick I was. And I hooked up to so many tubes, and he brought a photo of my grandbabies and he set it on the little station next to me where all the tubes and wires were. I wasn't allowed to eat. I could have no food, nothing by mouth, no liquids, nothing for months. Everything had to be fed to me through a tube. And he put that picture there and he said, if you can get home and you can get strong enough, we will go on a vacation to the beach. Because that was always my dream, but I was always too busy and never did it. And so I would look at that picture. And when the doctors asked me, do you want to go home and we can make you comfortable there? Or do you want to be here? I knew I wanted to go home because I did not come in here with a diagnosis of dying. I came in for a little surgery and now I'm going to death. So I just wanted to get home. And I kept looking at that picture now on my nightstand. And so we booked it. We booked an Airbnb. We booked a big house right on the beach where everybody could come. We let all the kids know they were coming. I would call them on the phone and get excited with them. What are we going to do? I want to learn to surf. I want to go fishing. I want to collect seashells. And so we had these wish lists. So yes, I absolutely did make a blueprint and I still do that today. I still book every schedule thing that we're doing with our grandkids. We talk about it. We build on it. We get excited about it. We don't even at Christmas. So Christmas is coming up. And for all of you who are stressing over finances, I will tell you, when I was raising my children, I killed myself trying to make Christmas wonderful, overspending and extending myself. And yeah, they might have been really excited over the gifts, but if I ask them the next year, what did I get you last year? I don't remember.
Don't even
They
know.
won't remember. They don't even have a clue. They're on to whatever the next thing is.
So
Even if they
true.
remembered, they haven't looked at it or used it in months. And so I decided to stop giving gifts to my kids. I wanted to give the gift of a memory. So we now book a trip. What are we going to do for Christmas? And we went to New York last year in October, and that was our Christmas gift with all the grandkids. And now when I ask them, what did we do last year for Christmas? Oh my gosh, we went to New York and we got to go on a ferry and we saw the Statue of Liberty and we got to eat at this great restaurant. And it was so fun at the house we stayed in. And we took that big bus, and they just go on and on and on about this memory we created, and they'll never forget it. They will not forget what we gave them last year for Christmas, nor will I. I will definitely take it to my grave. Thankfully, take it to my grave.
Yes, I love that. And you mentioned the thing about creating memories, which really changes the dynamic of what you're putting on that vision board. And you've also talked about the things that you can and cannot control, which is also important. So, knowing, what you know now, what advice would you give somebody who is on that journey trying to figure out what they can and can't control? How do you filter that when stuff comes to you?
So, as a mindset coach, I
Mhm.
know I can't control what anyone else does. That's their journey. That's their very unique journey. And even if you're struggling to watch a child go through some really difficult times, maybe they're messing with drugs, maybe they got pregnant too young, there's all kinds of things that can go on. I know that something really amazing is planned for them, right? And this is the journey it's taking them to get there. And so I can sit back and love them and watch them make those choices and move forward, even if sometimes those choices aren't great choices. I might give them advice on it, but I never try to take control of my family anymore or my kids, my grandkids. I let them experience the journey because I will tell you, I was a single mom at the age of 16. I went to college. I remember showing up to pay my tuition, thinking, how am I going to pay this with a daughter on my hip, right? All by myself. And I graduated college and I became an interior designer and I was phenomenal at it. And I did really well. Now that daughter is a doctor of natural medicine. Like I did a good job raising her on my own.
Yeah.
And so I want you to know that mistakes that you make, that mistake was not a mistake. That was part of my journey. Had I not had her, I don't know where I would have ended up because I didn't have the same responsibilities I had as a mom. I don't know if I'd have been a partier, if I don't know where I would have been. All I know is she was what I needed, although I did not always recognize it at the time. And now as an adult, I'm like, I would never have been here had I not had her and gone on that journey. And believe me, it was hard. It wasn't easy. You try going to school all on your own. And my mom was a tough mom. You want a baby? I'm not helping. That's on you. You want to be a mom? That's the job that you're signing
Right.
up for. And
Right.
I chose to do that. So I didn't have someone I could drop her off at. I was working 3 jobs. I was going to school and trying to keep up with my grade point average. It was a lot, but I did it. So it is possible. And that again was just being pretty stubborn and
Mhm.
being focused in on what my end goal was. And I've done a dream board since even back then. I would have a vision board. My kids, my grandkids do vision boards on a thing, something that they might want or to earn money for to get. And they all create those vision boards so they can see themselves going there. So I would definitely tell you, see yourself going where you want to go, create that vision board, and you can only control your own actions. I can't fix anyone else. It's not my job.
Yeah.
I can only fix myself. I can only show up as a better version of myself every opportunity I get. I am back in school at the age of 60. Back in school. Like I want to become
Awesome.
a hypnotherapist because I understand the importance of removing blocks that we have. And here I am back in school at the age of 60. So you can
Praise God.
absolutely do anything you want at any age. Don't let anyone tell you you couldn't.
Yes. And, we need to see your birth certificate because it doesn't look like you're 60.
Actually, I
But
won't be 60 for a couple more months, but I'll be there. And I have a daughter. I told you I was a mom at 16, so she'll be 42.
wow. I mean, this is phenomenal. Now, so for those moms that are single moms, because you are crushing it, okay? You have definitely not allowed your beginning to dictate your ending. And so a lot of people hear this and then they think, "Oh, well, she's got it all together. She's got this." You are talking about how you've overcome health issues and all these things. So what advice would you give them or things that you could tell them to practice, so that they can stay focused on what it is that they desire to accomplish?
So I remember doing all of this. I kept expecting my mom to say, "You're doing a great job. You're a great mom. Keep it. I can't believe you're doing." She never once did it because she's like, "That's what you chose. That's exactly the path you chose. So I'm not going to congratulate you for doing what you chose to do." And so she never was that for me. But I learned at a very young age to do it for myself. I do not wait for a man to tell me I'm beautiful. I do not wait for someone I'm working with to tell me I did a good job. I tell myself that, "Great job. I'm so proud of myself for doing this." Start telling yourself the things you feel that you need to hear from someone else. Start giving yourself that self-love. That is the number one key. Once you love yourself, it doesn't matter how anyone else sees you. Just start loving yourself. And when you do, you're going to be so surprised at what it attracts to you. And I did not always love myself. It took a lot. I still tell people I don't want to see myself naked because I've had so many surgeries and I had a double mastectomy. Like there's a lot going on under
Uh,
these clothes. But here's the thing. I know that it's also beautiful. That journey are my scars, right? Those are my superhero warrior marks. And I survived this and I survived that. But I didn't
yes.
see it that way at first. I cried. It's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to mourn those things. It's okay to feel sorry for yourself. You just can't live in that space. So I do it really quickly. I get it out of my system. And then I'm like, okay, what is good about this? There's something good. What is it? And I find the good, and that's what I build on. And that is literally mindset. And so I don't know how many of you have been told when you were young, I was told, be careful what you speak because you get the words of your mouth. And so if I were to say, "Oh, I'm going to fail my math test," my mom would stop me. "Be careful what you speak. You will get the words of your mouth." She
Mhm.
never taught me the really important thing, that little monkey voice in the back of your head. So I might say, "Nope, I'm nailing it. I'm getting an A." But I'd walk out the door and that monkey voice would say, "No, you're not. What are you, crazy? You didn't study. Math is your worst subject. You are going down like really hard." And so I never understood that it was the worst part, what goes on in our heads. I now stop that monkey voice. I stop that monkey voice when I'm judging myself. I stop my monkey voice when someone walks up and I immediately judge them. And that doesn't even have to be a negative judgment. It could just be me assuming they're having a good day and they're not. That's a
Right.
judgment, right?
Yeah.
And instead asking them, engaging with them, and really finding out what's going on in their life. So when you start hearing yourself say those things, stop it. Just recognize it. Nope, that's not true. That is
I
not
love
true.
that. I
And
love
talk
that.
to yourself.
That is some great advice because, you have to start with self. When I overcame depression and, I had to provide for myself what I needed, then I can provide that to other people. I was so busy thinking that I was pouring out love and kindness and nothing was coming out of that picture. Okay. Yes, I didn't do it for myself. So I love that you bring that up. We have to be proactive with ourselves and then we have something to give. So that is awesome. So you've also written a book, right?
I did.
Yeah. So you're
Did.
an author, I mean,
It was a best-selling Amazon new release book in it was also an international bestseller.
mhm.
But that book was because someone asked me to share my story. And I'm like, of course, I'll share my story. And I wrote my story. I spent a few days crying, laughing, going through the whole journey. I had like a really good chapter. That was it. And I'm like, I don't know how to expand that into a whole book. But when I meet women like you, the first thing I ask them is, why are you doing this? Tell me your story. And I started hearing these very powerful stories from these incredible women who had turned their lives around, learned from whatever horrible dark space they were in, and came out of it on the other side really successful in what it was that they wanted to do and out on a mission to share that with people. And so I collaborated with a bunch of other women in this book, and they all share stories and insights. And two of my daughters are in the book with me. So it was really
Aw.
special to me for them to share their journey and something unique about them and why they are doing and showing up serving their clients the way they do. So that book was really special to me, and now I'm getting ready to work on my third book actually, so I'm really excited to
Um,
be doing that. This one will be all on me, so sorry.
I love that. I love that. So, and just, like you said, you're claiming 60, you're already there. What advice would you give people in your age group that are like, I had this job for 20 years and now COVID and I can't do that anymore. What am I going to do? They're in that space. What advice would you give them?
Well, something I was told a long time ago is if you show up doing what you love every day, you don't work a day of your life, and that's very true. And I was an interior designer. I was very successful at it and I loved it so much, but I did not like working with people. And it didn't mean I didn't like people, but you try telling a husband and a wife who can't agree on one simple thing and everything's held up. It was frustrating. So I realized I didn't like it very much. But when I was being paid by the hour or by the job. And so when I got sick and I could not work for months, I had to give my clients to other designers so that they weren't in limbo. But I didn't think I was going to get well, but here I am. And I couldn't go back and say, look, I want my clients back. I'm better. I was going to have to rebuild that all over again. As I was educating myself like on mindset, why am I still here? Why does simple flip of the mind create all of this in my life? So I started getting educated and I became an NLP practitioner, an RTT practitioner. I kept educating myself. I went out as a mindset coach. I now work with other coaches, removing blocks with them and creating global influencers out of them. And when I started doing that, I was 50. And it was, honest to God, the best decade of my life. Find out what you love. What are you good at? What service are you good at providing for others? And create a business out of that. I don't care if you're 70, 80, 90, it is never too late for you to be giving back to the world and to your community, right? So find out what that looks like for you and get moving. Don't waste time and say, tomorrow I will, because as I can promise you, we aren't guaranteed tomorrow. So
Absolutely.
take that first step today.
I love that. So, what is the best way for the audience to keep up with you, follow you, and everything you've got going on?
So they can get me on my website, janashort.com. And most social medias are at Best Holistic Life. I also have a magazine that comes out on a regular basis. It's every quarter, and you go to Best Holistic Life to get a free copy of that. And you'll see celebrities in there and all kinds of fun people. And it's all about holistic living and holistic lifestyles. It's very positive and motivational, and there's great recipes and fun stuff in there. So you can go get that at Best Holistic Life.
Love that. And then what final words would you share with everybody?
Wow. So my final words are always to tell you there's hope and share your story, because I didn't realize until I did this that sharing your story could possibly be the miracle somebody else is waiting to hear. And I did not share my story for 2 years. The very first time I shared it, I remember sweating, shaking, thinking I was gonna throw up on stage. And when I got off, I was in such a rush to get off that the stage director stopped me, and I was cranky with them. I'm like, "What? Am I not done?" And they're like, "Of course you're done. You did a great job. There's a line of people waiting to talk to you." And I looked around the corner, and there was hundreds of people standing in line to meet me, to hug me, to say they love my story, that they felt like I was talking to them. I had no idea how powerful our stories are. And that is what makes you unique. It is your beautiful beacon of light that you shine out to the world that is not like anyone else's. So go out and start sharing your personal stories and your journeys and your successes and your failures. Go out and start sharing them and offering hope to other people.
I love that. That is just beautiful. Well, this has just been a great, great interview. I could go on for another hour, actually. I am inspired. So this is wonderful. So I just want to thank you again for coming to share with the audience. And I encourage you guys to reach out to Jana, and follow her, look her up, do some research, see what she's got going on, because there are no limits really to what we can do. Like she said, it's our mindset. If we believe it, then we can achieve it. So, again, Jana, we just thank you so much for sharing your words and your wisdom and insight. And good luck with book number 3. That's
Thank you so
amazing.
much. Thank you. It was such a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And I look forward to seeing you soon, probably at one of these B team events as well. And keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining that bright light, because it definitely is a blessing for many people to hear your story.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a great evening.